But I was calling to ask about the Daniel fast. I'm familiar with it, done it in the past, but now I have a different perspective on my way of life.
Yeah.
I came across a grace message, say, about 3 years ago,
Uh-huh.
and I surrounded myself with listening. It's hard to find a church that's kind of on that level in the community, but through you and places like basic gospel, understanding
Yeah.
and feeling better about myself and my spiritual walk. But the other day, my wife approached me. I kind of hurt her feelings. I didn't mean to, and I explained that. And
Yeah.
she was saying that maybe we should try the Daniel fast because she feel like she can grow closer to God. And I kind of like, well, I think I'm closer to God as I'm going to get. So I'm confident in my salvation. And it kind of offended a little bit because I've been sharing things I've been thinking of now since I've been introduced. And she said, it seems like you're always challenging. You challenging when I bring something up. Seems like you always. So she used to a tradition, and some of these traditional things I don't necessarily agree with,
Right.
especially finding out about after the cross.
Yes.
Out.
Yes.
And I just wanted to see how can I not really get a point across, but how when you come across somebody who don't agree with what you do, how can you kind of say what
Yeah.
you want to without offending them?
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, this is a tough one, and I really appreciate you bringing it to the broadcast tonight, Tony. I mean, as far as the issue itself, you're correct. We don't get closer to God. We don't inch a little bit closer, and we certainly wouldn't do it through food and drink anyway. And so food and drink doesn't make you close or distant from God. Abstaining from certain foods doesn't make you right. So people have, this Daniel fast has become popular. They're looking at the first 10 chapters of Daniel, I guess the first and the 10th, and they're weaving together some sort of recipe for what your next week or 10-day fast is going to be like. And then, I don't know if the originators of this decided that it was to be closer to God or not, but certainly that is the average Christian view of it. Whether we like it or not, the average believer gets into this sort of thing, and then they think they've really done their deed, and God is pleased as punch, and boy, have they gotten closer to Him through this. And then they don't do it for a while. They feel like, well, gosh, I got to get back and do that, and that'll make me better. What do we really need? We need to know our righteousness. I mean, righteousness by faith, not righteousness by food. Righteousness by Jesus, not righteousness by drink or abstaining from food. Righteousness because of the cross and resurrection, not because of what sort of substance I put in my mouth for 10 days. So, there is a lot of deception out there. When you look at the New Testament, there are some instances in the book of Acts, for example, where a group of leaders, and I emphasize that, a group of leaders is choosing a co-leader. They're choosing someone to join them, and so they decide to step away from feasts and festivals and food and celebration and focus on prayer and ask God for wisdom and discernment in the choosing of this leader. And so that would just be about focus and prayer. And it's not a formula. And certainly when you look at the epistles of the New Testament, Romans, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, there's no admonition to abstain from food. In fact, there's actually warning about people who abstain from food and saying don't fall into that trap thinking that it makes you better. So the bottom line is this: all things are permissible. It's not about abstaining from marriage, abstaining from foods, abstaining from physical pleasures. We might think that sort of thing gets us a status with God. But when we come back to righteousness by faith, it really blows that to smithereens. It dashes it against the rocks. We begin to see, no, wait a minute. Any world religion might make people suckers for the sales pitch of that sort of thing. But what's unique about Christianity is God is not asking you to make some sort of sacrifice He's not asking you to stop eating chocolate for a week. He's not asking you to stop eating meat for a week. He's not asking you to make some big sacrifice. When we read in the New Testament about sacrifice, there's two things that we read. The first is the sacrifice of lips that give thanks to our God. That's what he wants. A person who is saying, thank you, Lord. Thank you for forgiveness and freedom and my new identity, and thank you for your presence in me. Thank you, Lord Jesus. That's the faith that really pleases God. And the second kind of sacrifice is offering your body as a living sacrifice, not a dead sacrifice, but a living sacrifice. What does that mean? It just means presenting your body to Jesus Christ every day, every moment. Lord, use my mouth and my ears and my eyes and my hands and feet. I want to display your life to the people around me. So that's what it means to offer ourselves as a living sacrifice. This other sort of stuff, I mean, the number one use of the word fast in the New Testament is hold fast. It has nothing to do with food. Hold fast. Hold fast to the truth. Hold fast to the goodness of the gospel. Hold fast to it and allow the Spirit of God to renew your mind. So as far as communicating this, my friend, I mean, you could, instead of looking at the negative, hey, this isn't right, you're doing this wrong, or this makes no sense, instead of going negative, you could go positive and go thankful and see how that works. I'm so thankful for the righteousness I have. I'm so thankful for my union with Jesus, that I am one spirit with the Lord, that he is in me and I'm in him, vine and branches. And see, a person who begins to understand that, these other things fall into place. Stop eating and I'll be closer to God. Wait a minute, I've got vine and branches relationship. Stop eating to get closer to God? No, I'm one spirit with the Lord. Stop eating to get closer? No, I'm united with Christ. In his death, burial, and resurrection, I'm seated at the right hand of God. It's not about food and drink. It's about Jesus and what he did for me. Thank you, Lord. And I think that if we can be positive and thankful, we might, and the key word here is we might, be received better by others. But at the end of the day, Tony, I mean, you can't control the reaction of others. You can certainly make those choices to communicate in a healthy way, to be affirming and positive, build bridges, don't burn bridges. But ultimately, people need time and they need truth. And so I hope this is an encouragement to you. And I love your question. Thank you for bringing it tonight. Please call us back there in Alaska anytime. We'd love to hear from you, my friend.